Scoring props are fading fast. August 31st won't last, but don't you stress, don't delay. There's a smarter, sharper way. It's Lead Score Monday with Casey. Just 15 minutes, sharp and pacey. Learn the tool, prep your team, make your scoring system a dream.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. So glad you're here today for a maybe slightly spicy session. Lead scoring is broken. Should we even fix it? If you've been in HubSpot long enough, you may have built or inherited a lead score that felt more like a checkbox than an actual strategy. I've been there. Chris, who's joining me today, would argue we should just throw the whole thing out. So today we're going to dig into that. What's actually broken about lead scoring? Is there still value in trying to fix it? Or should we be thinking about scoring more like customer success does, with health and value signals across the full journey? This is meant to be a conversation, not a lecture. So jump in the chat, share your thoughts, and let us know what your own scoring experience has been like. Let's get into it. Hello, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Let me just say this. You are giving me hope where there has been zero in terms of like the value of doing this. This has been an easy, like, spoiled brat response to like everything that marketers have had trouble with, like organizations that have messy CRMs and not have data. Like, you could always find, like, it was rare to find lead scoring that's actually like working, right? And so yeah, I just wanted to share that up front. I don't know that it's necessarily a throwaway. It's just, you remove the word lead and everything gets better instantly.
Human scoring, is that better? That feels a little Black Mirror like.
Right. No, that makes it plain, like what we have been doing. Like, let's not score people, right? We're scoring the relationships. We want to understand, like, what's going on with the people that we're trying to do business with. And that's where we got to get out of the habit of dehumanizing everybody, like, on the way there.
Yeah. So before we jump too far in, let's talk a little bit about like why this matters now. Hello, my name is Casey. I've been talking about the score property sunsets since before it was cool. The score properties in HubSpot are getting sunset on August 31st. So teams are being forced to move any scoring activities out of the scoring properties and into, if you're looking at customer success, you're looking at the health score. If you're looking at pre-sales, you're most likely or if you're looking in Marketing Hub or Sales Hub, really, then you're looking in the lead scoring app. You could rebuild your current score in one of those places broadly. However, should you? Probably not. Well, only if your lead scoring is being actively updated, and it's also highly aligned with your sales and marketing team. However, I don't think I've ever talked to a team whose sales and marketing team are like, we love our lead scores leads. They're so great.
Ever. Like, and that's the point, right? Like, that's why I've always been of the mind of like, because the challenge has been, it's always a top 3 thing that a leader wants, like, because they've been conditioned forever. Like, this was like number 1 rule of SaaS is like, get to a lead score because we can, right? And do you remember when it first became possible to customize lifecycle stages?
I do. Right? I also didn't like that.
Right. But now we're here. This is literally HubSpot trying to make amends for the systemic problem that has been lead scoring, and it's forcing it's going to force people to rethink this at the time of rebuilding it, right? Because I'd say the only ones that get rebuilt are the ones I've heard about where there's some extravagant, like, workaround calculated fields happening because it's actually trying to be based on engagement levels and behavior and not just, demographics. So if you're one of those, like, come on over, let's rebuild it. It's probably way easier than you think it is because you
Yes.
think you might have to do a bunch of more, workaround stuff. I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yeah, so the good thing about the new lead scoring app is there are two elements. There's fit score, which is properties, which is what the scoring properties were. All you could do was score based on properties. But now we also have this engagement score, which is going to score humans based on what they're actually doing. And that's the piece that we were missing. And plenty of teams, myself included, had some workarounds for that. But the new score makes it, like you said, Chris, a lot easier and a lot more impactful. And the biggest piece is the recency piece, in my opinion. It was very hard, not impossible, but hard to measure engagement with the old scoring properties on recent engagement. It's built in with the new score. It's just there.
Yeah. Like context. It's there now. It wasn't there before. Like, unless you went to great lengths to create it, which kudos to the 1% that did that. But that was exactly why sales kind of had to shrug it off. Like, it could be a dead ringer for ICP if they just bought your competitor like 4 weeks ago, right? They're not a fit. And the fit becomes contextual and not like demographic, right? Especially in this space where it's like AI is enabling people to do lots of different things in new ways, including like vetting new software, new products and services. It's not hitting traffic. It's not hitting SEO. But it's also adding a layer of like the AI readiness of an organization and how much they're using AI is a whole new layer of context. So where if you don't know where they're at in that journey, it can throw another curveball, at you. And salespeople aren't built to hit curveballs unless they're the ones throwing them. And they don't want to be surprised. At the end of the day, like this, if we could just get to, here's my ask, like if we could remove the word lead, like, and just score relationships, like throughout the journey. We already do it on the customer success side. Deals, it's very hard to suggest that it's not a relationship, focused score because it's like who's all involved, what is their context, where are they at in the journey. Like you literally can't just apply ICP like to deal scores and have it mean anything, right? So we're already doing that with these other two scores. We could do that here and create alignment. What gets in the way is these words, leads, MQLs, SQLs, and that's why I brought up the life cycle stages. At first, they allowed you to customize them, and then they came out with new training that had removed MQL and SQL, I think. And that was a signal, right? If the billion-dollar software company is making those changes, it's probably for good reason. And so this has been a long time coming, and I love just helping people get out of the headspace, because as soon as you start to switch it to relationship-based, context-based, all of this makes sense. You can make very common sense decisions about how to move forward and also how to bring all your teams together, right? To get that alignment.
Yeah. Relationship scoring sounds a little better to me than human scoring. So I'll let you go with that there. But I think you bring up some good points, like even that I hadn't even thought about. So like the competitor, did they just purchase a competitor? And that's looking at your lead score beyond the first handoff. Because I think we often look at lead score as a way to get humans from the marketing team's ownership to the sales team ownership. But to your point, there are reasons to know, even after they get past to sales, because marketing's not going to know that they just bought the competitor. That is, but a sales conversation might learn that. Chris is making eyes like, stop putting everything on us, Chris. Stop. We can only do so much.
Well, this is the problem with intent data.
Yes.
Right. The only way you know is if you're using some kind of system that suggests they just made a purchase. Right. Mm-hmm. And even there, like when I think back to when I became a HubSpot customer, mm-hmm. the context on the surface would have looked like I was already a Salesforce customer. Mm-hmm. I just purchased Marketo, mm-hmm. like for a year contract. I went and signed up for Free Academy. Mm-hmm. Right. That's where there is signals at that point that could be interpreted to maybe I'm in the market still, or maybe there's problems. Mm-hmm. But if I had been reached out to like as soon as I hit the academy, mm-hmm. I would have. It's very possible I'm not a HubSpot customer right mm-hmm. now, right? Because what happened was I was getting value from the academy. At some point, some metric was showing somewhere that I was consuming courses like nobody's business because I wanted to learn about marketing automation. Meanwhile, the Marketo install was going to shit, and I couldn't even get in as an admin like 20 days into my install. And day 27, I hit the HubSpot pricing page. And then I get a call 7 minutes later. And then 3 days later, I'm out of my first, I bail. I'm able to get out of the contract mm-hmm. With Marketo, and now might be responsible for like millions of dollars of HubSpot business, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of context happening there though, right? Like if they would have reached out at the wrong time, which is a lot of what we're talking about, like those courses that I took, those are classic, like, oh, let's give him 80 points. Like he just consumed a 6-hour course. Man, he must love HubSpot. Mm-hmm. Like, let's get him to sales immediately. Right.
I just said to Sarah Lane Hahn this morning that we were talking about like people all the time will be like, okay, Casey, how many points should I give a resource download? And they get really lost in these, like, what is the number? And then I get in these conversations where I'm like, well, the points are made up basically. And it all depends. And I find myself saying things, and this is, please prepare yourself, Chris, like, give me a second to explain. I find myself saying these things like, how many resource downloads equal a demo request? And none, Chris. You can download every resource on my website, and that is not the same as you filling out my contact us form and saying, hey, I want to learn more about your consulting. Those two are so separate. However, we have these sales teams and these marketing teams, and their purpose is to figure out who is the best person for sales to reach out to. And that's why I think it's important to have, I say this all the time, like hot, medium, cold lists. And those resource downloads that's something. And especially if they're in your ICP, that's something. And your sales team may want, if they're bored, they might have something to say. Chris, I feel like I'm losing Chris here.
You're doing great, Casey.
They might have something to say. To your point, it's context. So like while you were consuming those courses, you had a free HubSpot account at that point?
Yep.
So if a CSM, if a customer support manager reached out to you while you were consuming courses and was like, hey, would like to learn more about how you want to use HubSpot, that might have been more helpful than if a sales rep was like, hello, called you and said, if HubSpot called you while you were consuming courses and was like, hello, would you like to have a sales conversation? You would ignore the call.
Yes. In theory. I'd say 99% of people. I just like to learn stuff. So for me, I probably take the call. But like at this point, I feel like I'm locked into like a $10,000, 1 year contract. They did a bunch of other things that like, just made for a poor experience. So I was, if HubSpot doesn't have any of this tracking set up, then they'd miss me because I don't get out of that contract. And now like, if they get to me later, right? That's the complexity that needs to be addressed that almost never is. Like if you have a lead score but do not have a process map, I know your lead score is full of shit. Like, because it does just become an activity and you force the framing of what you just said. How many resources equal this? When the answer is 0, right? But coming from an industrial manufacturing like background, marketing related to trade shows and buying lists, marketing's job is just to get the lists. And if it doesn't matter if it was the attendee list from the trade show, it is the the webinar sign up list. Like marketing is in no position and has no responsibility to try and filter out any of that. So instead of marketing scoring, it just goes right to sales. Like, and then sales has to sift through, and they don't like that either. It's so easy to see when you can understand where this comes from. It literally Salesforce introduced a lead object, right? Now everybody thinks we need a bunch of leads because we can track them in our CRM. So we need to send out a bunch of ads. To support ads, we need things like PDF downloads. Oh, we got a bunch of people we don't know in our sales, in our pipeline now. I guess we need to qualify them in some way. So we create whole teams of SDRs. We create these elaborate point systems. Now we need a bunch of help and a bunch of software and a bunch of tools to maintain all the system. Right. Meanwhile, especially in manufacturing space, the salesperson's just like, okay, you guys do you. I'm just going to have this human to human relationship over here because that's what closes the deal. Right. And if we can just take some notes from sales, like their focus on relationship can be translated into scores, right? But it's the complete opposite of starting with activities, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And most salespeople, like some, you might have to position it properly, but it can't be from like I need you to do this for me because this is my marketing goals and KPIs. This is like, how do we work together to make sure everybody's aligned and clear? And I want to learn from you, like what works to move a sale forward, to close a deal. And you can start to highlight things about the relationships that they build that should be scored and should not be scored.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think some of the problems that happen with lead scoring today, we've talked about like the points and how many content downloads equal a demo request. That turns into, I hear sales teams all the time say, we don't like lead score leads. We only want hand raisers, which my marketing reply is, well, duh.
Why can't it just be okay? Like, deal.
I mean, it can be.
That's the part that's broken. The fact that we can't just say like, hey, since none of this activity equals like hand raisers, but people giving direct requests, please, I want to talk to somebody. Like, until we nail that and have all the context ready for a salesperson so that they don't walk into that meeting not understanding the context, which there's so much work that gets done for lead scoring that could support that. But instead of like, it's like managing the data you do know versus the data you don't know. Like, we're trying to make stuff up to support numbers in a lot of cases.
Yes, but also like can't salespeople be part of the relationship building? Isn't that part of the salesperson's job to build the relationship? And sometimes that's not when someone raises their hand. So I'll use SuperIt as an example. I have had sales calls with SuperIt. Hello. I have never filled out a SuperIt form on their website and said, I would like a demo. I have had 2 demos. And I think SuperIt's sales team is very good at building relationships. And they are also very good at showing me why I need it. Like,
yeah,
I think that's why I'm like, duh, you want hand raisers, but you don't always have them. And that's part of your job, is to take the people who are not yet a hand raiser and build a relationship with them where they become one.
Right. That's why lead scoring is broken, right? Like, and the fix is transforming it into a relationship score. Because the thing that Super does very well, until you're on a demo with them, I bet it's hard for most people to tell you who exactly the salesperson is, who exactly the marketing people are. They're all customer facing. They're all the customer team. And if you like, that's my advice to most organizations. Like, it can't be marketing and sales and SDRs. And the more you split that up, the harder it is to keep everybody aligned. Right. But LinkedIn, as an example, like, it's the best business development platform ever created. And the people that know their stuff, the subject matter experts, often the salespeople, need to be just as active there, if not more so, than everybody else. Right. And that's where they execute what's called surround bound, where there's, they're sending DMs, they're engaging on posts, they're sharing posts. It's basically supporting your LinkedIn presence. And imagine, I would be very surprised if they had scores.
I bet
at
they
all. Right.
I think I am personally friends with everyone at SuperIt. I believe that.
It's a fair belief. I think they make everybody feel loved and supported. And I guarantee it doesn't start with a score, right? And it probably doesn't end with one either. That's the thing. Like, when you're just in the market and you are a part of the community, it just changes the dynamic where there's no need to score the relationships because everybody can feel them every day. A lot of this is the challenge is getting people to be comfortable with creating the space, for serendipity. Oh my God, if we're not scoring things, how do we know what the pipeline is? How do we forecast? Well, none of that stuff works for you anyways. So just show up and bring value and watch value come back. It doesn't sit well with most SaaS folks.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at.
Here's the thing. I don't necessarily think you're wrong. I also would be surprised if SuperIt had a score. If you're watching from SuperIt, any of my good friends from SuperIt, if you're watching, let me know. But I think there's got to be a compromise too, and some of that is, and I know, Chris, you're willing to just rip up the rug, tear down the house. I think there's other people who are not going to be ready to do all that. And the value of a score is it helps a sales team determine who to start building relationships with? And if that's well informed, which one of the big holes I feel like in well-informed sales teams is sales teams either not in HubSpot or not trained in HubSpot. I am working with a team right now. They are a HubSpot marketing, Salesforce sales team split. Very, very common. I have this huge workaround I'm building this week, all because their sales team doesn't know how to read the HubSpot contact record that's embedded in Salesforce. And I'm going to spend hours this week. I think that alignment piece is so important. And that starts a lot of times with everybody speaking the same language, reading the same software, like just being there. Because a lot of that context is actually quite easy to find in HubSpot. All you have to do is look at the contact record.
Yep. I mean, you just highlighted a different problem, but that's at the heart of it. It's like
a tale for another day.
To even get teams to agree on who's responsible for prospecting, who's responsible for lead management after they come in, is a whole nother story. And that's where, the problem continues. Yeah. And this is where leadership needs to understand, when they're the ones asking for lead scoring, the amount of wasted effort that goes into building infrastructure to try and get to meaningful scores and usually fail. And then the relationship that impact has on marketing and sales, it's all connected, and it does feel very much like a burn down the house. But when you have marketing with 1,000 lead KPI numbers, they literally have to bring those in. Yeah, you got to prioritize them now. The only way to do that is score them, right? It's just it's an unfortunate cycle.
I think if your marketing team's KPI is MQLs and you're using lead scores to generate MQLs to trigger that, frankly,
please change.
Your lead score is not going to be built to send qualified leads. Your lead score is going to be built to meet that metric.
So join tomorrow to understand a better way. Right? I mean, that's why you're doing all this stuff, right? It's a completely nonsensical cycle, what you just described. The fact that you can hit your KPIs by adjusting score numbers, because that's your job, and we get it. You have a job to do, but and that's where, again, leaders, that if you're creating that dynamic in your organization, it's probably not working for you. It is. It has nothing to do with HubSpot or likely the people in your org. It's how they're incentivized and the goals that they have, and I've seen it too many times.
So tomorrow, I'll be talking about this at the admin hug. So if you're listening, join that, and you get an hour of me just talking about what I think could be better about lead scoring and how to what the components are of a more effective lead score. Join tomorrow.
I'll be there.
Our biggest lead score fan. Any final thoughts, Chris?
I'll say I'm the biggest value first scoring fan. How about that?
There we go.
Oh man, thanks for showing me there is an opportunity here to not burn the house down, but help people transition. And again, it has to come from a place of HubSpot forcing you to rebuild stuff. But just think on that. When HubSpot when they introduced the ability to customize lifecycle stages, And then they updated the course that was related to it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no more MQL stage.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it, people.
There you go. All right, that's a wrap on today's session. Huge thanks to Chris for bringing the heat and challenging us to think differently about scoring, and to all of you for showing up and listening along. Whether your team burn it down or team let's rebuild it better, the goal here is the same: building systems that actually help prioritize, connect, and convert, not just check a box. If this convo sparked some ideas or made you realize your scoring setup could use a refresh, join the admin hug tomorrow, or check out our lead scoring mastermind group, valuefirst.site/scoremaster. Scoremaster is one word. It's below on the little ticker. And as always, shoot me a message if you want to nerd out over this more. I will see you next time.
Scoring props are fading fast. August 31st won't last, but don't you stress, don't delay. There's a smarter, sharper way. It's Lead Score Monday with Casey. Just 15 minutes, sharp and pacey. Learn the tool, prep your team, make your scoring system a dream.